shaking your hand. My name is Jamie Lambert, and I'm here today to complete the mock interview for Professor Montero's Career Development course. So the first question for this interview is, tell me about yourself. So, as I was saying, my name is Jamie Lambert, and I currently work for the Florida Department of Health as a program manager for a public health program, and I would like to promote in this field and hopefully expand some of the programs that I've worked hard to create at the Florida Department of Health. Before working for the Department of Health in Alachua County, I worked at a nursing home as a certified nursing assistant and then as the activities director for the nursing home. And at that time, I began my supervisory experience, supervising some certified nursing assistants in the activities department. I enjoy facilitating positive change, and I'm interested in the health and well-being of others. I am also skilled in management, both management of personnel as well as resources and time. I also possess skills in decision making, and I enjoy community outreach and working in a healthcare setting. So the second question for this interview is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So my strength is interpersonal communication. I believe I possess a great set of human skills that allow me to communicate and talk with folks during trying times, especially when there's conflict or when there is need to establish new parameters or to come up with a solution for a complex problem. I'm able to carry myself in such a way that those difficult conversations can be smooth and everything can run like a well-oiled machine. I believe my biggest weakness at this point in time is the length of time I have been in management. I'm coming up on 2.5 years, I believe, and I think at this time I'm still establishing leadership skills and management skills. I do have some skills in these two areas, but I'm still building upon those, and I'm excited about that. That's something I look forward to doing, is progressing in those two areas, in management and in leadership. The third question says, tell me about a time you have shown initiative. So I believe the best example for this is when I heard that our health department did not have a car seat safety program, and I knew that my supervisor was interested in it, but I also knew that she did not have the time she felt she could dedicate to that program. So on my own, I did some research, and I looked into what it would take to not only get a car seat program to the health department for others to participate in, but what it would take to get myself trained to be a child passenger safety technician, so that I could not only get the program started, but that I could be an integral part of it. So that happened last December. I started the training, and then I went on to look into grants that our health department could apply for so that we could get some funding to kick things off. And I also help now to not only register folks for the car seat program, but I actually participate actively each month in our events, and I help install car seats. I educate families on safety in and around vehicles, and our program has just really hit the ground running. I mean, at first it was slow, but now we are seeing how involved we can get families if we go through the right channels and if we put the press releases in the right places. And as a result, long term, we know that we'll be able to increase the number of children who ride in vehicles and are properly restrained. So question 4 says, give me a time, or give me an example of a time you've dealt with conflict in the workplace. So when I was working at the nursing home as an activities director, I had started out as a nursing assistant. So once I promoted to the activities director position, I was in a position of leadership supervisor over some of the nursing assistants I had once worked alongside of. And that was a problem in and of itself. But one of the biggest problems that happened in my activities department is that oftentimes nursing assistants would bring residents into the dining area or into the activities area, and they would have to come back and get them and take them away to bathe them or get them ready for bed or to give them some type of care, which they definitely needed. Definitely wouldn't want to get in the way of that. But I started to wonder, how can we make this better? You know, the certified nursing assistants would come in and they would say, hey, Miss So-and-so, we need to take you to get a bath, or hey, Miss So-and-so, looks like we need to change your clothes. And they would leave with the residents, and sometimes the residents would not be happy about it. They'd be very upset. There'd be arguments. There would be yelling, sometimes crying. And so I was trying to figure out, how can I help these residents enjoy their activities more and also help the nursing assistants? Maybe we can come up with a more efficient way. So in the midst of this conflict, I talked to some of the nurses, and we decided that at the beginning of each shift, I would meet with the CNAs, the certified nursing assistants, quickly, nothing lengthy, but just to say, hey, these are the activities I have going on tonight or today, this afternoon. These are the folks that I believe would enjoy these activities, or these are the folks who have voiced wanting to participate in these activities. This is when they're happening. So if there's any way to get these residents bathed or changed or fed prior to these activities so that they can actually go and participate for the full length of time and not have to be taken away due to someone else's agenda. You know, they could be independent and choose when and where they were going to do things. And so my role starting out was an onlooker, but then I was able to step in and really help implement some change. And as a result, in the long run, it took a couple weeks. It was difficult because it was change for the CNAs. They've been doing things a certain way for a long time, and that's the way they wanted to do it, and they had to change their perspective a little bit. They had to put themselves in the shoes of the residents. Had to have some conversations about respect and dignity and how we would feel if the tables were turned. And in the long run, it really did help the CNAs kind of learn how to prioritize their work differently based on the needs of the residents rather than on their own personal needs. And it also helped the residents be able to enjoy the activities a little bit more. So it was really great. We worked as a team, started out in the midst of conflict, but we were able to come together as a team and solve those issues for the residents and for ourselves. Things started working out a little bit better. So that was a good experience, and the result was really wonderful. So the next question is, it says, we began the semester by discussing the importance of self-assessment when making career decisions. What are your career values, skills, interests, and personality? How do they relate to your chosen field or job? So for me, the human service field fits my skills and interests, and working for the Florida Department of Health specifically fits my values and personality. I value relationships, and the type of environment that I work in is important to me. I value that. Working at the Florida Department of Health, I know that relationships and working environment are important and valued because I've seen it exemplified. We have a calm working environment. We're able to discuss our issues with human resources if we need to. I have great support from my supervisor, and that's what I'm looking for in future endeavors as well. The skills and interests for the human services field. I'm skilled in resource, time, and personnel management, which is important. I also have social perceptiveness skills, which is important in social sciences or in human services, because you have to be able to talk to folks and pick up on cues, the way someone's sitting, or the way they say a phrase where they emphasize and how their soul comes through in conversation can really tell you a lot about someone and the struggles they're going through. And it may trigger in your mind, hey, you know what? I was thinking they might need this resource, or I was thinking that I might need to refer them to this program. But given those cues, I see maybe they'd benefit more from this program or for a referral for this program. And so this fits with human services and management. Also, as far as interests go, I am super interested in science. I've always been enthralled with science and biology and the way things work, the human body, the mind, the soul, nature. Those things are really interesting to me. And so my interests really line right up with the human services and public health fields. It makes it easy, makes my day-to-day interesting. I'm also compassionate, which is something I've learned through self-assessment this semester. I believe being compassionate is a requirement working in public health and human services, because you have to be motivated to help other people, or else you're not. If you're not motivated to help other people, then why are you in the field? Because you encounter folks in this field who need help, and they need compassion, and they need empathy. And if you don't have those things, then you can't help them to the best of your ability or to the top end of what they may need. So that's important. I also am organized and practical, and I believe this is important in management, specifically within the human services and public health fields, because being practical means I have a way to make decisions. When things are unknown or there are gray areas, if I'm practical minded and I'm money minded and I put the needs of our clients first, then some of those decisions that may at first seem to be difficult ones or complicated ones turn out to be pretty cut and dry. If there's a decision to be made and one way I go is going to benefit the client, and the other way I go is going to benefit only one or two clients, then I'm going to go with the decision that will benefit all clients. Vice versa, if there's a decision to be made and one way I go is going to cost our program a lot of money, but the other way I go is only going to cost our program a little bit of money and will benefit our client, then I'm going to make the decision that will cost the least amount of money and benefit our clients the most. Staying organized helps me stay on track and also makes things run smoother. I like things to run smooth, no matter what it takes. So those are important as well. So let's see, number 6. We examine various tools of the job search: resumes, visames, cover letters, etc. What have you learned about those tools? So I learned that although I thought I knew what I was doing with my resume, my cover letters, I learned that even though I thought I was tailoring them when I've applied for jobs in the past, there was a way to do it even better. Tailoring my cover letters and my resume to project my personality and to better highlight my skills, what I'm interested in, to rework my resume, to highlight things that may be better received given a certain job or a certain company. Doing those things can really put my resume and cover letter, my name, at the top of a pile of applicants, rather than, just thrown in there somewhere because it wasn't anything special. So that's something I learned. I also learned about visames. Just specifically, I want to touch on that because I'd never seen them before. I'd seen infographics before, but I'd never seen a visame. And I learned how important those can be in the right field. And you may not think it's important in human services or public health, but if I were to apply for a position with a company in public health, and part of my job description was to be creative and create infographics or flyers for events or ways to boost numbers and revenue, having that creative edge could put my resume or my visime at the top of a pile, or my name at the top of someone's list. And so that was amazing to me. I learned something brand new. I feel like I have a new tool in my tool belt. So that was something really important to me, and I thought it was really interesting. Number 7, if you were to teach someone how to interview and network well, what 3 key information items would you share? So number 1, I learned this semester was how to build a network and when to, not when to, but how to build a network and the different levels and how important it is to keep those contacts engaged. Get out there, meet people, and keep in touch. So that was number 1. Number 2, I learned about using STAR answers. So STAR, S-T-A-R, S stands for situation. So you want to explain the situation in your answer. And then T, you want to explain your tasks or your roles, what you did in that situation, what made you stand out in that situation. Then A is for actions. What actions did you take? And R, what were the results? So in the long run, what happened? What change did you make, or what change was brought upon? What happened? STAR. I learned how great that is to use when you're giving answers for networking or interviewing, because it's a way to keep things concise and organized, which can help you portray not only an image of professionalism, but also to get your point across in a nice package. The third thing, the 2 P's for me, practice and professional. So part of my image, or my image is brought about by how I project myself visually. So for instance, today I have on a blazer and I have on a skirt, and I have on small earrings, nothing big and gaudy. I'm not showing any cleavage. I have my hair pulled back out of my face. This is a good way to project an image of professionalism. I'm clean cut, nice and put together, professional. And then the other P was practice. Practicing my 30-second speech or my 15-second speech, practicing what I'm going to say beforehand over and over repetitively is going to help me be confident in what I'm going to say and what I know. Because I may know things on the inside of my head, but if I have trouble getting them out or talking to someone about them, no one else is going to know that I am a professional and I have experiences that make me a well-rounded professional. So practice and professional. So just to recap there, build my network, use STAR answers, and practice and be professional. So number 8, the last question, we discussed various aspects of transitioning from student to professional success. What are 5 things that you will keep in mind when transitioning? I learned about networking, use short speeches. I learned how to apply for promotions within my field and my agency, make sure that job descriptions include my skills and interests, values, and personality. I also should ask questions during interviews for those positions so that I know that those things are included. I'm also going to make sure I tailor my wardrobe to reflect serious business, as I was talking about a minute ago. And then when I submit letters to employers who have interviewed me, I want to make sure I highlight their business as well as my underline or highlight my interests and skills. So what 3 things have you learned overall in this course? This is the last question. I've learned through self-discovery of my personality how my career path and personal goals should be tailored so I can be happy and successful. I've also learned the importance of researching customs when working in an international setting, and I've learned how to tailor a job search and how to tailor correspondence as well. So thank you so much for having me today. Shaking your hand. Have a great day.